And here we go. There we go. Get that's muted. I think we're good to go, folks. Here we go. Bang. Hello, team. Long time no see. How's it going? For those that don't know, I'm Wes. And this is Staghammer Studio. We're going to be doing a little hobby work today. We're going to be doing some mini painting. We're going to be doing some other crap. Quite frankly, this is my first time trying to dual stream to both YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Chances are I'll be tweaking some settings as we go here, both for Twitch and possibly OBS and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll kind of play that by ear. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, we're here. It's Friday night. I haven't streamed in a while. It's been a couple of weeks. I've had some stuff going on in my personal life. We just kind of been a little busy with holidays and all that stuff. Speaking of which, I hope everybody here in the US of A had themselves a good National Gluttony Day yesterday. So, but yeah, I had myself a busy week work-wise and looking to do some chilling, some relaxing. So here we are. You'll notice there's no music tonight, and that's for no other particular reason other than I've been struggling to find good, reliably copyright-free music. It seems like every time I find a playlist that says, "Oh, this is copyright free," YouTube punches me in the dick with copyright issues, and being both on that and on Twitch at the same time, I feel like if one doesn't bitch slap me, the other one will. So, I'm looking to kind of avoid that as best as possible. I know this is probably kind of late for some folks. Usually my start time was 9 o'clock, but today was a little different than your average Friday. My wife ended up working. She doesn't normally work Fridays, but she had some stuff to do. And so it was me and my daughter kind of hanging out, and my wife got home not too long ago, so she's putting the little one to bed. Anyway, that's enough kind of rambling. I want to make sure again that I welcome everybody. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to the stream, I'll probably delve into a little bit of hobby news in terms of stuff I've been working on, kind of update you guys. If I've got anything cool to show off, which is debatable at this point, then I'll do so kind of at the top of the show. And then we'll go down to the desk. I'll do some painting, some working on stuff. And I'm just kind of generally here to shoot the shit and hang out. And this is all the kind of hobby stuff I'd probably be doing anyway. And I figure, we'll just kind of stream it and hang out with some friends and chit chat and, do this damn thing. So that being said, let me pop this up. Ooh, that needs fixing. All right. So I've been saying in stream after stream after stream recently that I was in the process of trying to update and rebuild my computer. Well, you'll be enthusiastic to know, excuse me as I sort of change a bunch of stuff here. Been working on editing my overlays and so forth, so unlock that. Needs to go bigger this way. Slide it this way. And while we're at it, we'll unlock the text. We'll relock these two. Grab that. Kind of center it a little bit. Shazam. All right. Just that easy, folks. Just that easy. Look at that. Anyway, on the fly OBS editing. Man, that's riveting. All right. Anyway, what the hell was I saying? Would you believe it? I don't even remember what I was saying. I'd believe it, that's for sure. Anyway, oh right, computer. That's what I was talking about. So yeah, so I was working to upgrade my my PC here. It's like 10 years old in terms of like what's inside of it. It's seen better days. It's a little rough, and so it was having a rough go for a while. I kind of felt bad for the poor thing. It was crashing constantly, and that's going to drive me nuts. Not properly aligned. Anyway, so yeah, don't don't tell me you're not going to fit properly. Oh, I don't know what white work. It's the screen snap that's fucking me up. All right. Anyway, whatever. Stop fucking with it. Just leave it alone. Uh, so yeah. So anyway, I did it. I did the thing. I finally got the motherboard that I've been waiting for, and finally got all that crap hooked up. Um, and so yeah, we're up and running now with a new. We're up and running now with a new. What is YouTube doing here? I don't know what it's telling me. I don't know what that's saying. Stream status poor. I don't know what the hell that's saying. But anyway, yeah, if you're checking this out on YouTube or you're checking this out on Twitch, just let me know how it's looking, how it's sounding, all that nonsense. I'm trying to shoot this out to both. I'm using Restream to kind of split it, and I have no idea how it looks, sounds, etc. So, you know, just give me a shout and let me know at some point if it's okay. Because I'm not going to know until after this when I go back and like rewatch this crap. But anywho, so computer fixed, got it. That's the main point of this story. So I got the new motherboard in finally. I already had the RAM, I had the video card, and I had the new CPU just kind of hanging out, and I was just waiting on the motherboard. It was this long, drawn-out process. Not going to bother getting into the story because it's just there's no point. The important news is it's here. And as such, I got a couple of weeks ago now my computer, you know, upgraded. And so I've been working sort of behind the scenes a little bit here. One of the reasons I haven't been on as well is because I was like trying to fix all of my streaming stuff and get everything like, you know, updated to the new hardware and try and install some new stuff and tweak some settings and blah 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 blah. But that being said, that was the main thing that was holding me off from really starting to kind of punch out content on YouTube specifically. And it was also kind of the thing I was using as a gate for when I would start streaming on Twitch as well. And it basically came down to you know, with my computer crashing constantly, like I wouldn't be able to edit videos for YouTube efficiently, and B, I didn't want to try and stream to two separate services at the same time, and then have my computer just constantly be crashing. Like, it's just not a good look. You know what I mean? So anyway, I opted instead to um, kind of hold out until things got built up. So here we are. That's the short version, or the long version, I guess, is really what that was. Um, but yeah. All right. Anyway, so you know what? Why don't I kind of adjust here a little bit? Get my phone out of the way. Um, let's see. Do I have any other cool hobby news since the last time I streamed? The biggest chunk of hobby news really is the last big commission that I did. As part of my payment for that, I was given a 3D printer. And so it's a, what is this thing? A JG Maker Magic. Um, I I don't really know much about 3D printers, I'll be honest, but I've always kind of wanted one, if for no other reason than to just print terrain and like scatter bits and just weird little things. Um, but yeah, I have one, and I've successfully printed a few things and unsuccessfully printed several others. If we bounce down to the desk real quick, I get my ugly palette out of the way. Probably adjust my lighting a little bit so that y'all can actually see some things. Some water on my desk. So one of the first things I printed was this little guy right here, which is a little barrel cart. I found the pattern on Thingiverse, and so it's like a little two-wheeled horse-drawn cart. I guess in theory it could be people-drawn, and I like to think that this is a keg of some fine adult beverage that will get pulled along. But this is basically just going to sit in whatever city street and just be a cool little piece of scatter terrain. Nothing crazy fancy. What other crap did I print? Whoop, and I dropped it. Some stocks. So that, I'm going to have, I found another print for another set of stocks similar to this that are up on like a raised platform. So I'm going to put this up on the platform as well. And from the fine folks at Reaper Miniatures, I have this old metal mini here, which is, let's see if we can get the camera to focus a wee bit. It's a little dude in another set of stocks. So I'm basically going to have this down on the ground, like off of it, and then this stuff will be on top of it. And this guy will be getting rotten tomatoes thrown at him, because that's what happens when you're in stocks. I tried printing a house. Some honest to goodness terrain, something that I've been trying to do and wanting to do. The whole reason I wanted a 3D printer in the first place. And for whatever reason, this printer is fighting me on it. I've been getting error messages and all kinds of nonsense. So it hasn't quite been working out yet, but I will troubleshoot this. I've been kind of poking around at it for a while. I have a couple of friends that are substantially better versed in the realm of 3D printing, and so I'm going to call upon their aid to help me out a little bit. Okay, painting. It's kind of the whole reason we're here, I suppose. So what have I been up to painting-wise, you may ask? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Not a whole heck of a lot. I did prime a bunch of stuff just to kind of get it ready. I have a whole bunch of the Reaper Minis Townsfolk set. Trying to fix my camera. So I got a bunch of them primed. I have like might as well show you since we're doing this. So there's 3. Totally out of focus. Okay, try it this way. So 3 guardsmen, and of course they're all upside down. So try doing this. Hell, I'm super professional with this. Where are we? Come on, focus. All right, somewhere up there. So guardsmen, right? These guys will probably get painted up in the same scheme as my city guard for Cities of Sigmar, or my Free Guild guard, rather. So I've got this, like, mother with children. I've got a bunch of other children on sprue somewhere that I'm gonna... And then I've got some, like, weird random, like, chickens and cats and dogs and weird shit like that. Here's the fishmonger's wife. Let's see, can we get a little focus, maybe? Yeah, kind of. Fishmonger's wife. She comes conveniently enough with a small barrel full of sea creatures. There's a little octopus on top. That'll be fun. Blacksmith. Every city needs a blacksmith. Great. I don't know, maid, whatever. Some lady with a broom. Cool. Bar lady. Server, if you will. Waitress. And we've got the barkeep, or the inn owner, or whatever. Fat dude cleaning a glass. Sweet. Showed you the guy with the stocks. And that's basically it. I did start already, and for those of you that follow me on Instagram, you will notice that I posted this guy up there already. Old Man Wilford. Wilford? No. I don't friggin' remember what I called him. But anyway, not Wilford. That would be like Wilford Brimley. I don't remember what the hell I called him. And you know what? Screw it. It doesn't matter. But this guy is just like a random farmer dude. And so, just an old man farmer. And he's only got one hand. So, that sucks. And then there's this lady who has been kind of fun because I never paint anything in pink or light blue. Or at least that shade of light blue. It's kind of like a, I don't know, sky blue, whatever. So she's super early stages. I've just West Talks, take two. Just sort of started slapping some base coats on her the other night. So, you know, whatevs. This guy's got a little bit of highlighting on him. And I think he's, I mean, for just a random dude in the background as like a NPC kind of townsfolk kind of guy, he's fine where he is. I'm going to matte coat him and then finish basing him, and then he'll be done. I'm not going to really put too much more effort into him, I don't think. Then we have this guy right here, which is another Reaper Bones mini. I don't know. It's like some sort of like evil priest thing or wizard or, you know, whatever. I've decided I really like the sculpt. And so I'm going to use him as another necromancer in my army, because you can never have too many necromancers in an undead army. And I got my first ever contrast paint. This is Ethermatic Blue. And I decided I was going to... I'm going to be using for some of my basing. But I decided I wanted to see what I could do with it, and so I painted the little gem in that color after basing it white, and then glazed some onto his robes to sort of give like a quick and dirty like OSL sort of effect. I'm pretty happy with it. Like, you know, it's just kind of goofing around. But he's not even remotely done. There's still a fair bit of work to do on him. I just kind of got him to this point and set him aside and was like, meh, whatevs, we'll get back to it. Of a little bit greater importance is this guy. So this is the captain of the city guard. This is the leader, champion, if you will. I don't know what his exact necessary term is, but he is, for my Cities of Sigmar, my sort of first unit of Free Guild Guard, and he is the champion of that group. So he's really cool, though. I like him quite a bit. Got a gnarly scar across his face. But this guy, so all of my armies, as I've explained a number of times on the stream, in past episodes, all of my armies are from Shaiish. If you're not familiar, Shaiish is the realm of death. So basically, the entire lore for all of my armies revolves around my Legions of Nagash army. We're going to actually jump off the desk and go bang, back up like this because it's story time. So all of my armies revolve around my Legions of Nagash army. Specifically, they revolve around my Vampire Lord, who is the general of said Legions of Nagash army. Excuse me. A little sip of coffee here while I'm at it. I don't think that counts as hydrating, but whatever. So the general idea is that the Vampire Lord, he runs a city. It's very much like the old like vampire counts from Warhammer Fantasy Battle. That's kind of the vibe I wanted to call on. Like Sylvania from Warhammer Fantasy Battle, like I'm sort of doing an homage to that by having it's not called Sylvania per se, but it is very much like a region in the realm of death that is run by my Vampire Lord. And the city that he runs, it's not just undead that are there. So like the whole idea is when he goes to war, when he goes campaigning, right, he doesn't bring his livestock with him. He doesn't bring the people. He doesn't bring his cattle with him. No, he leaves them in the city. They've got to run the day-to-day, like keep the economy running. They've got to, make sure that, everything's good. And they're basically like making him money while he's off at war. But he brings all the undead, he raises up the army of the undead, goes marching to war with them, and leaves, the living folk back at the city to guard and garrison the city. So the same Vampire Lord that is the general for my Legions of Nagash army is also going to end up being my quote unquote free guild general for my Cities of Sigmar army as well. And that's kind of the idea. So I wanted to have the mortal human denizens of the city that he runs as like sort of an army. And so all of these townsfolk are all people that like live and work in that city. And I'm just sort of, for shits and giggles, kind of fleshing it out and making some NPCs for it. And I'll probably paint up more along the way. Like even I have like a whole bin in the garage full of like Reaper Bones minis. And I'll probably even grab like, other like GW minis, whether it's like, old metal Warhammer Fantasy Battles minis, just to kind of get a little diversity in there. Or other Age of Sigmar minis from other ranges, mind you. So like, excuse me. I might grab things like some wanderers or something like that, just to get some like elves in there, maybe some dispossessed dwarves, whatever sort of strikes my fancy as like, random people that might be in this city, whether they're like just passing through or whatever. And I'm going to paint them up and just have them as like background NPCs for like, taking pictures and stuff like that of the city as it develops. Just to kind of try and liven things up a little bit. And what I may end up doing as well, I haven't sort of, I don't have any concrete plans for this, but something that I'm considering is trying to run, like I've already got the narrative Age of Sigmar campaign planned. But something I'm considering adding on top of that is the new Warhammer role-playing game, Soulbound, called. And so I'm considering taking that and actually setting that in the same setting, and having that be sort of like in and around where a bunch of that campaign takes place. So the friends that I have that are playing in the narrative campaign may also play in that, uh, and it will basically further build the the story of this particular area of the realm of death, which ultimately is the whole goal and the whole plan of this entire operation here. So, yep. Let me see. Um, yeah, I think that pretty much does it. For background on that at least. So, all right, let's go ahead and we're just gonna jump on back down to the desk. And we're gonna start working on something. Oh, I also started slapping some paint on a zombie because zombies are cool, and I have 50 of them that need to be painted. I think I've painted 10 so far, so I've got 40 zombies left to paint. Um, so yeah, certainly a work in progress. Ooh, excuse me. All right, you'll have to bear with me all the yawning. I'm sorry. I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning, and I am mighty tired. But I wanted to get at least like an hour, maybe 2 of streaming done, and some painting. So, just kind of figure it out. So again, I don't know how this looks on Twitch and on YouTube at the moment. But I think we're live on both, so whatever. I'll go back and check it out tomorrow maybe and try and figure out what went wrong, what went right, all that jazz. In the meantime, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to get our brushes out of the way here. Just kind of ended up with a random pile. My 2-year-old knocked a bunch of my paintbrushes off my desk onto the floor, so I just kind of snatched them up in a hurry and threw them back up here. Set those off to the side. Okay, palette. So I think just because she's on the painting handle already, I think I'm just gonna put some paint on this this out of the way. Ugh. You know what? You're going on the floor. Running out of room to put things, which means I need to address cleanliness on my painting area soon, as it's getting out of control. All right, that goes in the lap. Let's grab our brush o' choice for this particular task. All right, so I'm basically just gonna continue the base coating process on this chick. She just needs some more TLC. We'll get the palette maybe sort of kind of in shot here. Don't know that it's necessarily that important. But, let me know, I suppose, in the comments or in the chat if that is something you're interested in seeing, the palette. I don't think it's particularly interesting, but, whatever. If you like it, let me know. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is like a Reaper miniatures. It's not Reaper Bones, because Reaper Bones is the material, not the model line per se. That Bones material, I've painted a series of models with that as a material, and I do not like it. In fact, the commission that I just did, the big dragon, that was Reaper Bones. And I have to say, I am not overly fond of that material in general. It is pretty much universally a pain in the ass. It's just too soft. I don't like it. The detail doesn't like the actual sculpt detail is bad on most of them. Like it's hard to get one that actually has like a decent cast quality. I don't know. Like so much so that I'm not even sure that one actually exists. I don't think that's actually a thing. So we're just kind of dropping some different shades of pink in here, trying to get the folds of the dress, kind of work those in with the base coat. You know, we can get some halfway decent blends going, then that's ideal. But, yep. So this is I haven't come up with a name for her yet, or any sort of general backstory for her. I don't know that I will necessarily for all of these guys. I liked the idea of doing it for the farmer. You know what? While I'm thinking about it, well, and I'm sure this is not going to be super riveting, but I need to find out what the hell I named him because it's going to drive me nuts. And it's on my Instagram. Let's see. What the hell did I name him? Winford. That's what it was. Old Man Winford, not Wilford. Oh, silly Wes. So yeah, anyway, so the Winford, Old Man Winford, or Winford the Lame, as he's only got one hand. And that's how he's known around town. The poor guy lost his hand in a farming equipment accident, and or no, I said it was Goblin Raid. I can't even remember my own backstory for him. What am I doing with my life? Like my first NPC I've actually named for this, and I can't remember his fucking story. That's sad. Although I'm gonna blame it on the 3 o'clock wake up time. Yeah, that's it. It's not that I'm an idiot. It's just that I'm tired. Or I'm a tired idiot. One or the other. Yeah. And I apologize ahead of time if I sort of meander out of frame here. I have a tendency to, when I'm painting, kind of move around a lot, constantly like leaning back, sitting back, pulling the mini close to my face so I can see what the hell I'm doing, that kind of thing. And I try, though somewhat unsuccessfully at times, I try to remember that I'm doing this on camera, and I try to keep it in frame and in shot. Sometimes that works better than others. This lady's got the big old chubby cheeks, doesn't she just? Oh boy. All right. Question is, these mugs. How do I want to work the mugs? I don't know. I'll think on it while I base coat the rest of her little underbust bodice thing here. Somewhere in the garage, I actually have a line of these townsfolk that are the strumpets and the town prostitutes. So those will be fun to paint up. They're pretty funny. But yeah, the Reaper came out with several sets of these townsfolk minis. A bunch of them have been like redone, recast in the bones material. But if I can, I'd like to find them all in metal on like eBay or something like that. I have a ton of them in metal already, but there's, I guess, certain ones I wouldn't mind having multiples of, and others that like, I don't know, just like I would just much rather have them in metal, because as I said previously, I strongly dislike the Reaper Bones material. So, coffee time. I really need to fix the music situation at some point on this thing. I don't know. I will have to look into at some point. I don't know when this will be, but at some point I will have to look into if there's any like services that offer strictly copyright-free music. Because as I've said, I've tried looking on Spotify for non-copyright playlists, and there's a ton of playlists, but every single one of them that I've tried, I end up getting like flagged for copyright material, and it's just super frustrating. Like if you're advertising a playlist as being non-copyright, like maybe make sure that it's actually copyright free, I guess. You know, like I'm no expert in the matter, but that seems to make sense to me. Let's put it that way. All right, so we're just going to go for the old classic pewter mug. Just going to slap some dark steel on this. Then I'll end up washing them in like a black or something like that, just to really bring them down. That sort of dull pewter. I might re-highlight back up with this same color here, as that seems to make sense to me. But, you know, let's see. I'll play by ear. So I hope everybody has had themselves a pretty good week. And as I said, for those here in the U.S., I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, or as I like to call it, National Gluttony Day. I hope you found a balance between safety and family, as I know during these trying times that can be very, very difficult to do. I can tell you that I personally went to my wife's aunt's house. It was her aunt's family. So her aunt, her uncle, and her 3 cousins. And then it was me, my wife, our daughter. And that's basically it. But they're already like, they live like one town over, and we go and visit them pretty much weekly. So they're already sort of in our bubble of commonly visited people, and we know that they're not out doing a bunch of stupid shit. So they are not overly concerned. Put it that way. All right. So we got a base coat down on those mugs. That's fine. Nothing special. But that lets some of our other stuff dry. Coat onto this. This color here is Ulthuan Gray. It is from the Citadel paint line. It's actually got just a subtle hint of blue to it, so it's a nice cool white. And that was part of the reason I picked it here, because the warmth, relatively speaking, of the pink having red tones in it, the blue would play nicely off of that in theory. And also got the blue tones in that I guess it's called a bodice, maybe. Pretty sure that's what that's called. But whatever that thing is. Got to figure out exactly how I'm going to be shading and highlighting it. We'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. All right. Working on the pink here a little bit. It's not a commonly used color for me, so I'm not super, especially for this, like the pinks that I chose here. So I'm kind of trying to learn. It's very thin compared to just like in terms of opacity. And so I'm having to do many thin coats here. But I think coming up too, once I figure out Twitch a little bit more in terms of just sort of what its capabilities are and what it actually does, then I think I'm gonna slap some polls together. I might do them on YouTube too. We'll see. But just to kind of see what other well, I guess it makes more sense to do them on YouTube, do the polls on YouTube, because a lot of the content is just going to end up there in terms of like, other video stuff that I want to do. But I'd like to also kind of get a feel for what kind of stuff other people would like to actually see. And then go where the common ground lies. Trying to do a little wet blending on this chick while I'm base coating here on the arms. Just a darker pink underneath. Kind of bring that up into the brighter pink on the top. I feel like this brighter pink is so thin that it's just not doing the trick quite the way I'd like it. See if we can get more kind of raw paint on there. Just have diluted a little too much over time. And we'll try it again on the other arm. But yes, I imagine that this young lady here, being a little bit goes on the heavier side, is the wife of this. Where is he? There he is. That portly gentleman right there. And together they run this fine establishment, whatever it's called. And I haven't given it a name yet. Suppose I should at some point. Something suitably fantasy inn sounding. Naked dwarf or something like that. All right. That'll have to do. This is just sort of rough base coating anyway, and we'll go back in and reinforce the highlights and the shadows and all that stuff later. Plus, we're not exactly looking for award-winning painting here. It just needs to be whatever my definition of good enough is for this particular purpose. Which is basically just to be background NPCs. So they need paint. Doesn't have to be good paint, just paint. All right. Punch up that blue a little bit. Now, in the original sort of first pass on this, I chose to give her kind of like mousy brown hair. A little bit of like an auburn kind of thing. And I'm not entirely sure I like the particular color I picked. I like the brown idea. I just don't like the, I don't know, the particular brown that's there. So I have this other sort of brown color. I think, oh, that looks better already. color that was on there just didn't, something about it didn't look like natural. Yes. Best way to explain it. That looks a little bit more like just brown hair. Is exactly what we're going for. Oh, I think it'll work out just fine. Then I'm going to come through with like a, probably like a light gray. Do some sort of highlighting in a light gray, just to give the impression of some silvering hair. She's been around for a little bit, I guess. Not old by any stretch. I probably have more grays than she does. Gray was that? Stone? I think that was stones. That looks like stone. Yeah. Definitely. All right. All right. Oh, we've almost been at this for about an hour so far. Kind of sliding in some real thin down gray around the pockets. How I feel about that. It's quite opaque enough in some places. So we're going to try and got some pink on down there. A little water. Thin that down. One thing's for sure, I'm definitely going to be picking up some more, at some point, some more contrast paints. They are, they seem fun. I know they've been out for a while, and it seems odd that I'm only just now getting into them, but I, with a 2-year-old daughter, I have not really had a ton of time for, I guess, experimenting with my hobby. I've been kind of sticking with what I know so that I can be as efficient with what little time I have as possible. As I think that kind of makes sense. I think I'd like to take a little bit of sepia. be working. I'm just kind of stippling some sepia ink, sepia wash, whatever, sort of in the middle between the pockets and down along sort of the hem here, where I feel like from maybe wiping tables, wiping hands, that are the apron's just a little bit grimier around the edges. Right above the pockets too, from constantly sliding hands in and out. Oh, I like that. Cool. I like that effect. Well, you guys do too. Gives a little character. And actually, we'll wait on that. Basically, I'm thinking I'm going to end up running some along the bottom of her dress too. Right now, I am trying to reinforce some of the shadows in the pink. This darker pink. And that's good. Let's grab a little bit of this. Highlight color. I apologize ahead of time if I'm pulling her out of range, but all these little tiny folds on her sleeves. I'm trying to sort of edge highlight some of them. Bring out some of the details there. All right, that's good enough. We'll call that dress highlighted. Again, not going to win any awards, but it's not intended to. Oof. Let's finish up some more coffee here. So I think my next decision is going to be which of these fine townsfolk is next. We're just kind of stippling this sepia along the bottom of her dress here. Trying to make sure we don't get any like hard lines between the where the sepia sort of starts and ends, or the, you know, that line between the pink and the sepia. I want to make sure that that's like a relatively soft transition and kind of fades down into it. So we'll let that dry, and then I'm going to do another coat closer to the edge. Again, just kind of stippling it on. You can see sort of going to work on our skin tone next. Managed to get pink from her dress all over her breasts. All right, so we got that. Let's get our first highlight color going. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to pull this out of frame for a second while I try and highlight her face somewhat. We're going to let that dry. Oh, so yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so I'm gonna need to figure out which one of these guys I want to do next. We've got the farmer guy. We've got the wife of the innkeeper. Suppose that technically makes her an innkeeper as well. That works, but I kind of like, I don't want to do either the blacksmith or the fishmonger's wife. Fishwife? I don't know. I could do the innkeeper. That way I've got the husband and the wife done. That could be one way to go. Which I don't hate. That idea. Just kind of trying to decide what colors I want to paint this guy. I feel like he needs to be sort of traditional bartender, barkeep, innkeeper. You know what I mean? Like white shirt, stained white apron, maybe some like gray blue pants. Maybe it's like a splash of color. His belt will be like bright red. I think that's kind of where I'm leaning at the moment. And he's got some boots. Just make those brown. Nothing fancy. Brown boots. Well, see, now I've got a color scheme for him planned out, so I feel like he's kind of where we're going next. So, but he needs to be put on a base. All the rest of these guys I pinned to a base because they're metal models. They're heavy. I can't use plastic glue to adhere them to the base. I have to use super glue. And I knew that these guys would just like kind of snap off. So, you know, if I ever drop them or they get knocked over or something like that, or if my 2-year-old gets a hold of them, as, you know, let's face it, 2-year-olds tend to do. So yeah. So I wanted to make sure that they would stay on their bases. So I drilled into the model and then through the base, and then with a piece of wire, just super glued that up into the bottom of the model and then into the base for a nice solid connection. And I need to do that with this guy, and then I also need to prime him. I'm going to hit him with the same sort of light gray primer that I hit the rest of these guys with, and then he'll be good to go. So I think that'll be my next, at least for the townsfolk, that'll be the next place that I hit. It's that guy. And then we'll have husband and wife done. And I actually kind of want to make this chick here, the fish wife. I kind of want to make her the wife of the one-handed farmer. I don't know why I think that would be a good pairing, but they just kind of both look old and generally miserable, so might as well stick them together. I don't know. I'm no expert at this. I'm just painting minis, and then I like to come up with stupid backstories for them. Because why not? Why not have some fun, right? Why not have some fun along the way? All right, so right now we're putting a little bit more of this sepia along the base, focusing more towards the bottom. That's cool. All right, well, she's more or less done. I guess we still have to do all her skin. Oh, that's right. I was letting that skin dry so that I could put wash on it. I'm going to run some flesh shade into the recesses By recesses, I mostly mean cleavage, but, you know, whatevs. Although it will sort of help to define the neck of her dress, as well as various facial features. Put a good bit of that on. Back in and wick some away. Or we think there might be too much. All right. So we'll let that dry. Then we'll come back in with our highlights, and we will highlight up from there. I don't know how late I want to go with this. What's up, Blue? It's a little of column A and a little of column B. So the ones I'm working on right now are just kind of for funsies, because I wanted like a palette cleanser, I guess. I've been working like all through October. I was pushing to get as much of my undead army for Warhammer Age of Sigmar done. And I didn't like burn out on it per se, but I definitely reached a point where I was like, all right, I need to paint something else. You know, I feel like when I burn out, I probably just don't want to paint anything for a while. And I just kind of shifted gears a little bit to work on this. I don't know if you were here at the beginning when I was kind of explaining some of this stuff. But so I predominantly play two games. And you know what? We're going to do a little bit of this story time action. So I predominantly play two games. The first is Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and the other is Dungeons and Dragons. And those are my sort of games of choice. I started with Warhammer Fantasy Battles back when I was in like, I don't know, like 6th grade or something like that, 7th grade. We'll call it just general middle school, right? And that was when I first sort of found it and started painting minis and stuff like that. And then I stopped for a long time after that. I don't know how long exactly. But about the time I got back into playing D&D was when I started painting minis again. Mostly because I wanted to paint a mini like for my character. And then while I was at it, I was like, well, shit, I'm gonna like I went on to like Hero Forge, if you're familiar with that site, and I made minis for the rest of the party, and then got those ordered, painted those all up, and gave them away as like kind of a surprise. And so that was sort of where I got back into it, was like learning how to paint again, so that I could paint those minis. And then from there I just kind of snowballed, and I got back into it with the idea of DMing D&D, and I needed to work on my mini collection, so I was buying Warhammer minis to play D&D with, and then I realized, hey, I've got all these Warhammer minis, why don't I just also play Warhammer? Like, that just kind of makes sense, right? Like, if you're gonna, you can double dip, you know what I mean? Get dual use out of the minis. So anyway, So I have several armies for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Um, the largest two that I have, I've got a pretty big Nurgle army. Um, I don't know if you're familiar or not with Warhammer at all. Um, so I don't want to like sit here and like mansplain everything to you. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, so I've got a big Nurgle force, uh, probably like around 5,000 points, 4,500, something like that of Nurgle, and then about the same of Legions of Nagash. Um, and some of that is like mixed in Night Haunt stuff. Some of that is, uh, I think that's pretty much it for the Legions. But it's all like, you know, Legions and Night Haunt. Like there was a lot of crossover between the two. So, um, but yeah, but then I also have like recently I was working on my Gloomspite Gits. So I've got like maybe 600-ish points of Gloomspite Gits. I've got about 2K worth of Stormcast. We got some Corn, 1,000 points of Corn, 1,000 points of Slaves to Darkness. Some of that bleeds over into my Nurgle stuff. But yeah, and then I've got some Skaven, I've got some Ogres, I've got like a bunch of stuff. But the reason I started collecting all of those armies, and the reason I'm doing these minis in particular right now, is um, I'm starting to get a narrative campaign together between like myself and a couple of friends for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And I have like all these lofty goals, but to boil it down to its essence, I want to play Age of Sigmar like it was D&D kind of. And the idea is, uh, so you've got all like the mortal realms, right? And Shaiish is the realm of death. All of my armies are themed as if they're from the realm of death. Um, and the idea is I took a landmass from the map of the realm of death, right? And it's one of the ones that Games Workshop hasn't like told us about. You know what I mean? Like it's on the map, but they haven't fleshed it out. So my plan is to basically write the history of that particular region of the realm of death in a narrative, like a series of narrative campaigns that's going to bounce back and forth between Warhammer Age of Sigmar at various point costs. So, like, you know, some might be 1,000 point games, some might be 500 point games, some might be 2,500 point games. You know what I mean? Just kind of bouncing around. Some will be handled via like Warcry games. So, like, small little, you know, like side missions here and there where like a hero and a handful of troops have to like infiltrate and do some weird spy shit. Um, and so I'm going to be sort of bouncing between a couple of like official GW game systems so that I can, you know, sort of like broadly tell the story of all of this. And the idea is I'll be releasing on, excuse me, on YouTube a series of battle reports that sort of chronicle our process through this. Um, so that was one of those things that was very like contingent on me getting my computer upgraded, which I just recently finally did. So to answer your question, though, fifth edition was what pulled me back into D&D. I used to play. God, I think like I started playing technically when I was in like fifth grade. So like early 90s. And I had the game like the edition I started playing was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So I think that was what, like first edition 1.5, something like that. I don't know. I still have the box like on my shelf over here. But then I never really found anyone else to play with. I tried to play with my brother a couple of times, and as soon as I like handed him like the player manual, and he realized he had to read more than one paragraph worth of rules, he was like, "Yeah, I'm good." So I never really found anybody that was interested in it until uh, like I don't know, probably like 5 or 10 years ago. Um, but yeah, so like back when like fifth edition was fairly new, like it had been out for a little bit at this point, but like um I was actually working with a guy that he ended up becoming like a really good friend of mine, this guy Jason, super good friend of mine now, and he DMs for like his little group of friends, and when he realized that I was also into like things of the nerdy nature, he was like, oh, maybe you should come, play sometime. Like, I'm going to be starting a new campaign soon. Like, if you want to get into it. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I showed up, and it was like the most fun I've had, like, in I don't even know how long. You know what I mean? Like, sitting down and playing. And I absolutely loved it. And that campaign started probably 3 years ago, give or take. And it's been going strong ever since. Um, and So, unfortunately, I have not been playing for that long. I have a 2-year-old daughter. So right before she was born, I had to like bow out of the campaign because like it was a weekly thing on Fridays, but at the time, I think my wife was working on Fridays, and so there was no way that I was going to be able to keep playing with a newborn. Like that just wasn't going to happen. Um, and around the time she turned 1, I tried hosting D&D at my house, but she was way too young for it then. She might handle it a little bit better now. I don't know, but I'm basically like once she's old enough that I can sort of like leave her to like watch TV or go put her to bed at like a reliable time and, whatever. Um, I have a bunch of friends. I haven't really tried online alternatives. No, I have some friends that use Roll20, um, and they've had some relatively positive experiences with that. But I've never really messed around with it at all. Really, not. I can't even say I haven't done it too much. Like, I haven't done it at all, not once. Um, but like theoretically, I'd be open to it. Um, you know what I mean? But it's like the other thing too is it's like a kind of a matter of trying to figure out timing. You know what I mean? Like between my wife's work schedule, my work schedule, which I work I get up at 3 a.m. to get to work at like 5, and I get home at like 3 p.m. give or take. Um, and so then like on the days that my wife works, I get home, she goes, "Here, have a baby," and then she leaves and goes to work. So it's it can be, just kind of a bit stressful, There's just not a lot of time for it, unfortunately. Um and then like, Friday nights and Saturday nights are usually the nights that I try and get some kind of like hobby stuff in. But I find it's quite frankly West Talks take two. Quite frankly, it's a lot easier to work around this kind of hobby time because I can easily put this down and walk away if I have to. Whereas like I also come from like a background of like MMO gaming and stuff like that, so like I know what an investment, a time investment it can be to like commit to doing like stuff on like a weekly basis, and I don't want to commit to a group and then not be able to like actually follow through. That makes sense. So. Oh yeah, no, scheduling is totally the final boss. Yeah, you are 100% correct on that one. So, but yeah, so basically, let me bust back down here. So this uh, um, sort of barkeep wife lady, and then I've got Wilford the farmer, Wilford the lame, uh, old man Wilford. Um, no, Winford. Winford. God damn it! I got to remember that fucking name. Anyway, these guys are the first sort of NPCs or denizens of my city. So I was telling you about the my armies, right, for Age of Sigmar, and that they're all from the realm of death. I took it one step further, right? Like they're all sort of interconnected in some way, shape, or form. You know, like they all basically have like run into one another at some point here or there. Um, and so the two main armies that are going to be sort of like tied together, that will be like the sort of uh, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. My brain is too tired, but it's basically the center point around which the rest of the story will revolve is my Legions of Nagash army and what will be my Cities of Sigmar army. And the idea is that the vampire lord that runs my Legions of Nagash army is also the vampire lord that runs the city that all of the humans live in. So it's like the humans and the undead are living like side by side, sort of. And the undead is like a source of cheap labor, essentially for like menial, like, mining and stuff like that. But then you have I need to get another one of these paints. This is starting to get a little crusty on the inside. But so basically, like the way it works is when the vampire lord goes off to war, right? Like when he's got to handle his business and go off and do some fighting, he brings his undead legions with him because they're expendable troops. Like they don't have to eat, they don't have to sleep. There's minimal upkeep involved. So it's easy for him to bring them to war, and if a bunch of them like die off, you can just raise more. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. But all of the living people in the city stay in the city, and those are the ones that like sort of garrison the city walls while he's away, and like kind of protect things and stuff like that. So I'm doing a largely free guild based, like human based Cities of Sigmar army that is going to be done as sort of like the city guard, if you will. And so I just wanted to like paint these guys up for fun, as like I don't know, motivation or whatever. As like, these are the people that the city guard are guarding, and I wanted to like just write some backstory because that's what I do as like, somebody who also plays D&D. Like I love coming up with backstory for stuff. So I figured, if I'm coming up with backstory for the city, it's a good idea to figure out who lives in the city. This is my little way of doing that, I guess. Too much of that color in all the wrong places. Yeah, exactly. I don't want them to be just like farmer A, farmer B, you know, whatever. And the other thing too is, so there's a guy I follow on Instagram. Couple of them, but one in particular. Let me find his name, and I'll see if I can. Actually, let me see if I can find it on computer here, and then I can post a link to his page. And I encourage you to go check him out. Here we are. Copy. Pasta. So I encourage you to go check this guy out. So I'm pretty sure he does like he either does an awful lot of collaboration work with the official tabletop world terrain company, because he paints up a shitload of their terrain, and it is gorgeous, absolutely stunning. But he's also painted up like a ton of like just random NPCs, town people, villagers, etc. And he has these amazing, amazing shots that he'll like go in and do a little bit of photo editing and stuff like that. But he sets up these whole marketplace scenes that are just like, it looks like a thriving metropolis, and it is so gorgeous. And so the idea is, I'm kind of stealing his idea, but probably not as well. Like, I will not execute it as well as this guy does. At least I don't think I will. But I want to have the ability. Yes, yet. Thank you. That's the word. Um, but I want to like sort of start heading in that direction. And so I'm working on building up. I just got a 3D printer, and I'm working on getting that configured properly so that it doesn't shit out on me when I'm trying to print anything larger than a barrel. And but that's going to be like basically a terrain, um, just making nothing but terrain all the time. I'm just a factory for terrain. Yeah, and so I'm going to be hopefully printing up a ton of like, you know, like houses and shops and that kind of stuff. And so we'll see. I'd like to get to a point where I can like lay down a city map for like Warhammer, and then actually like make the city within it. You know what I mean? Like actually put down like all the buildings and have, you know, all nicely laid out. Mm. So anyway, that's the story. I actually I made a vanity purchase on eBay recently that it was very much like, I didn't need it, not in any way, shape, or form, but it was something that like I saw it and was like, I need to own this. And it was largely for sort of these purposes. Oh boy, did I fuck her face up. But that purchase in particular, here, let me switch scenes real quick. I think yeah, you can see that. Of course, it's primed black, so it's kind of hard to make out with the background of my room being so dark right now. But so this is the gate from the Warhammer Mighty Fortress, or like the Citadel Mighty Fortress set. And I picked this up specifically because this was going to be the city gate. This was the first piece of terrain that I wanted to pick up to like start building my city. And I've since started looking for other parts of this set. There's like, you know, straight wall sections and towers and stuff like that. And so I'm going to be picking up, you know, a bunch of those as I can find them. And that's going to be the sort of beginnings of the city itself. Yep. So that'll be fun. Bring some. You know, I'm really glad. I'm glad you're excited. So speaking of watching the journey, keep an eye on the YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is going to have amongst the sort of myriad of like, you know, battle reports and actual sort of like recorded game stuff. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is well, I'm going to be doing like a bunch of stuff. One of them is a series of like army showcases, where I'm going to be like basically like laying out the entire breadth of whatever the army is, and like probably doing like a bunch of like still photos mixed with like video of like a rotating shot of the unit or whatever. And then I'll do like some voiceover and just like talk about it and stuff like that. Why I'm excited about it, if there's anything special about it that like, you know, I particularly enjoyed about, you know, making it, or, you know, like if it did some particularly cool thing in a game one time, like that kind of weird shit. But it's also kind of like a way to like show off the paint job and, you know, give a little bit of history and stuff like that to the models and the army. So I'm going to be doing that, but I'm also going to be doing a bunch of like hobby vlog stuff. What the fuck is this shit? Oh, I get it. Who the fuck is spamming my chat, and how do I make it not do that? Right? Oh, here we go. Ban. Get the fuck out. Let's block them. Cool. All right. GTFO. So before I was so rudely interrupted, what was I saying? Oh, right. So I'm gonna be doing like a whole bunch of like hobby vlog stuff about like, you know, progress and one of the major things that is going to revolve around, the hobby vlog stuff is going to revolve largely around the terrain. So and then of course like the stream here is going to be largely like as I'm sitting there like working on it. And then that way like I can just have people to talk to and, you know, like kind of entertain myself as well as entertain them, hopefully. But so can't really, maybe if I do this. Oh, that's real bright. All right. You can see behind me as I blind myself. You can see that there's a table behind me. That's my gaming table. So I built like a 6x4 gaming table, and right now it's got like a winter battle mat on it. But that table is, as I said, it's a 6x4 table, and the idea is I'm going to. I've already got some of them cut, but I'm going to be doing a series of 2 foot by 2 foot tiles that will fit onto the surface. So there's going to be a total of 6 that fit on the table, because math, you know. And so these 2 foot by 2 foot tiles are going to be like permanently built up with terrain. So there's going to be like, you know, elevation, like hills and stuff like that. There's going to be like static grass, and they're basically, each one's going to be like a little mini 2 foot, you know, 2x2 diorama. And then these are going to be like the setup for the table. Now, they're not all going to be like that for all of the, you know, like it's probably not going to be like that for all of the battle reports and stuff like that. It would be nice if that was the case, but I'm also realistic that that's, to start, that's not going to happen. It may evolve into that at some point, which would be like a hobby nerd wet dream of mine. But for the time being, most of it's going to be on like battle mats and stuff like that. But as like a vanity project for myself, I'm going to be working on the sort of the terrain around the city. And I'm going to be focusing on building that city, and then like the outskirts of the city and stuff like that. So, um, so that's a lot of what those tiles are going to represent. So I'm going to be using like those, like the those thick, like 1 or 2 inch sheets of like you know, foam insulation, the XPS foam. I'll be like laying that stuff down and carving that out, and like putting, you know, like modeling compound and stuff like that on that, building up the terrain. And a lot of that stuff, as I said, I will be documenting that, and so that's going to be like a large part of the journey, as I like to think of it. Hopefully, is going to be that on YouTube. But and then on the streams, like I said, you'll actually get to like kind of tune in and watch the as I'm actually like currently working on it. You know what I mean? But I give this poor woman a little bit more life. Looks so cranky. All right, here comes the fun part. Trying to dot some I's. Yeah, looks all right. First one always does. It's getting the other one to somewhat match it. That's the challenge. Well, holy shit. I think we did it, team. any. We needs to fix that. Yeah, no worries. This lady does not look like a nice lady. For the record. It's such a sourpuss face. Welcome back. What did I do to this poor lady's face? Got the eyes okay, and then somehow just messed everything else up. Not having luck with this. Channels focused on AOS. Yeah, there's some. If you're interested in gameplay specifically, I recommend re-rolling ones. Here, let me. It'll be easier if I just send you some links. So. That's the best of you. So, all right. So copy. Awesome. So that's re-rolling ones. They do a lot of battle reports that are really good. A little bit. It tends to be more on the narrative side of things instead of like hardcore competitive, which is my preference. The narrative, not the hardcore. I don't know. That sounded confusing to me, but anyway. So that's one. This guy here. Copy. Pasa. This guy here, Vince Venturella. I can never pronounce his last name properly. He's one of my favorite painters. He's big in the AOS scene. He has a weekly show called Warhammer Weekly. He and a friend of his put on, and it's like usually like 1 to 2 hours, give or take, of like a podcast kind of thing. So they'll talk about like new army books that come out. They talk about that tends to be a little bit more like news and and like rules heavy. Although Vince is like an excellent painter, and if you're at all into mini painting yourself, he has like a whole series of like hobby cheating. Um, is the name of the playlist. And he'll like deep dive into like a random topic, like how to paint leather. You know what I mean? Like, and he'll just sort of be like, "This is how you paint leather," and it's super fun and easy, and like he'll show you how to do it. So it's like I super love that guy. And then I think my third and final major recommendation is this fine gentleman right here. Happy? Pasta. 2+ tough. This guy's channel revolves around lore. That's literally like 95% of what this guy does is just Warhammer Age of Sigmar lore. So again, if you're into like the narrative side, the lore side of things, you just kind of want some cool stories, he goes into some really cool stories. And so I highly recommend his channel as well. But yeah, those are like my main 3 like AOS channels that I tend to frequent. So if you tried to post a link before, it doesn't look like it actually posted. And I am too new to this to understand how to make it so that you can post a link. I don't know how to do things. Oh, let's try chat settings. No mod icons, sure. What about timestamps? One moment, follower only chat. Manage moderation settings. Block hyperlinks. There we go. I can shut that off. Now that should do the trick. Maybe. Oh, this is stunning. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So, Games Workshop recently. I don't remember what like publisher and company they went through to release it, but there is they did put out recently an RPG that is set in the Mortal Realms. It's set in Age of Sigmar, basically, like that setting. It's called Soulbound. And I was actually kind of contemplating trying to start up a campaign of that with the same friends that are doing the narrative AOS campaign. And the idea would be that, again, these little NPC guys would come in handy for that. But the idea is to delve like even deeper into the random lore of this area that I'm trying to develop, and actually have like a have like a basically like a D&D like RPG campaign that takes place in that setting in the city run by the vampire lord that runs my Legions of Nagash army. You know what I mean? Like it's like nerdception right here. You know, like just shoving. It's like the nerd turducken. That's the best way I can. Yeah. Byhander. I don't think I know that system um, specifically, but I mean, it sounds cool. Oh, I want to apologize to this poor lady for me painting her face to look so derpy. Yeah, exactly. All right. Can't tell if that helped or hurt, but I think we're good. But honestly, I'm going to have to call it with her, at least with her face right now, because if I keep poking at this, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So, especially because I'm late and I'm tired. So, I think I'm just going to keep fucking it up if I keep trying anything. We're going to take this black wash and we're going to put this over all of the metallics. Because we want those to look like old shitty pewter. Mm-hmm. All right. Und then we shall take this color. This looks like a good. Probably way more than I needed. So yeah, I enabled hot links, but it is after you sent that link. So if you want to resend me that link, I will check it out. Didn't wait for that wash to dry at all, and I'm trying to like paint bone color over it for the froth on the beers. Okay, let me I'm going to go ahead and sub to them now, and then I'll check them out later when I actually remember. But yeah, it looks like 40K battle reports from the looks of things. But I like where they're at, I think. Quiet you. They definitely kick up the terrain, that's for sure. That looks pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check this out at some point later. Thank you for sending that to me. I appreciate it. Yeah, I never really got into 40K. It's not that I don't like sci-fi. I actually rather enjoy sci-fi. I just really could only focus on one game system at a time. And if I have to choose, it's going to be fantasy over sci-fi every time. Yeah, I do that all the time. I used to watch a lot. It was more so before my daughter was born. But I don't so much get having a couple hours at a time to like sit down and watch a battle report is usually a rare occurrence these days. But it used to be that I would sit down and paint for a few hours at a stretch, and I would usually have some battle reports going in the background, or 2+Tough's lore videos, or something suitably on brand, I guess. So, all right. I'm inclined to call this chick done for now, as I find something that I missed. Just try and throw some quick black right over those the strings on her bodice. Good enough. All right. Well, I guess if I did this. So this is where she's at. I think let's try and pull this back a little bit so it doesn't work out. She's got 6 frosty mugs of beer. She's happy to help you out. She needs a cool name. I don't know what it is yet. Kind of looks like a Gertrude. I don't know. So she's done. Moira. Ooh. Oh, that, you know what? You nailed it right there. Moira it is. Yep. You nailed it. All right, I'm gonna write that down, because otherwise I'm gonna forget it. You know what? We're gonna even go one step further. We're gonna take a picture. We're gonna just post it right up to Instagram. Camera, not of my face. Just the lighting a smidge. Snap. Oh, I need a good tavern name. That's what I need. Uh, all right. Hear me out on this one. I think I got a name. Tavern name, right? So keep in mind that this is in the realm of death, right? So they're a little less skittish about these kinds of things. Uh, so what often can be found in some at the bottom of some brands of tequila? A worm, right? So what if the name of the tavern is the Bloated Worm? Eh? That's kind of cool. And and like the sign is literally just like a little spiral, like a coiled up worm, but it's all like fat, like almost like a grub. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. All right, good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're digging it too. All right, all right. All right. Meet Moira. She runs the show at the Bloated Worm Tavern, full of warm food, cold brew. Uh, and let's see. Place known for warm food. No, I don't know. I'll come up with the rest of this shit later. It's not going to be terribly entertaining if I'm sitting here just thinking to myself. But yeah, I like where we're I like where we're aiming with that one. That's a win. All right, Moira, you're done. Um, I'll have to figure out a last name for her at some point. All right. Anyway, uh, what time is it? 12:18. Huh? Do I have any coffee left? One gulp. And then some water. Gotta hydrate. Ooh, that's not good. Or cup is leaking. Oh, that's not good at all. Where is it leaking from? That makes me sad. Find a way to patch it. Hmm. That's not good at all. That's a bummer. Hmm. Really wish I knew where that was leaking from. It is actually my favorite cup. It's here, we'll do one of these. It's a big horn mug. This was a Father's Day gift from my wife and my daughter this past year, and it seems like the whole underside is like wood, but there's like on the inside it's like resin that was like sealed in to like join the bone and the wood, but the whole underside is like wet, like really wet, and not entirely sure where, like, what part of the cup is leaking. Like, I don't think it's going straight through because there's like a quarter inch of resin poured on the bottom, so there's got to be a crack somewhere. That's most unfortunate. It's from there. Anyway, I'll have to solve that mystery another time. For now, I'll have to retire the mug. Bummer. All right. Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call this a night in terms of the stream here. And I'm gonna start making my way off to bed, I think. I appreciate you coming and hanging out, Blue. And for everyone else that might check this out on the YouTubes later on, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we'll pop this thing up. Boy, is that everything's all these little things that need to be tweaked since I changed my computer around. All right, just that. I'm just sort of now seeing all of this. This needs to be good. Oh, still not good. Whatever. Anyway, so big thanks to everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Blue, thanks for keeping me company in the chat. Thanks for coming up with the name for good old Moira here. And I don't know exactly when my next stream is going to be. I'm kind of playing by ear now. My streaming schedule was Friday nights for a while, but I think going forwards, it's that might be changing up. Honestly, it might just kind of be sporadic for a little bit, just kind of whenever I have the time to sit down and commit some time to hobby, I'll just throw on the stream as well. So just keep an eye out. If you're not already, throw a follow up there. YouTube, same thing. Head over to YouTube, hit subscribe, hit that little bell icon for the notifications when I go live and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. You want to throw a like on the videos over on YouTube? That'd be swell. But yeah, all right. So anyway, in conclusion, thanks for coming, spending some time with me. I appreciate it. I'll see you whenever the next one of these is. Unfortunately, I don't have, like, as I was saying, I don't have a strict schedule set up just yet. But I'll be back. I'll be doing this again for sure. Um, that's it. That's all I got. All right, I'm out. Signing out. Later. Wes out. Peace. Bye.